The most powerful families in the Gilded Age. There's a particular period in the history of the United States where some of the richest people who ever lived emerged. This period is known as the Gilded Age. This was during the years of 1877 to the 1900s, during the Industrial Revolution, when the business tycoons, or robber barons as they are referred to, that came up during this time would be among the richest people of the planet in today's money, with some having wealth that far surpasses the likes of Zuckerberg, Bezos, and yes, Elon Musk. Thanks to the insane amount of riches, their families became the most powerful families of the Gilded Age. These are their names, these were their industries, and thus the effect that they had on a global scale. Here are 7 of the most powerful families from the Gilded Age. 1. The Astor family. The name Astor is associated with old money in the United States. This family has a lot of influence in American history, and like the United States of America, their story started in the British Empire. It was in the streets of London that John Jacob Astor and his brother George started a flute company that saw a fair bit of success, so much so that John decided that it would be good to take the business to the US, where he started selling woodwind instruments. The business slowly grew, and John moved to New York and started dealing in a variety of other musical instruments, and soon he branched into the fur clothing industry and the opium industry, which was said to be mainly for medical use. The business didn't blow up until he married his wife Sarah Cox Todd, and thanks to her consultancy, the business grew so large that his wife got accused of witchcraft. That's how big they got. They had 8 kids, including John Jacob Astor Jr. and real estate giant William Backhouse Astor Sr. The Astor descendants revolutionized their respective fields, and even Henry Astor, who is the brother of John and Jacob, improved horse racing and set the standard to judge horses in the horse racing industry, thanks to his thoroughbred horse Messenger. The Astors also had influence in the Episcopal Church, a great deal of philanthropy, as well as the British aristocracy. Through all his businesses, John Jacob Astor in today's money will be worth $400 million. And if you want to increase your net worth, be sure to hit that subscribe button so you never miss out on amazing videos. 2. The Gould family. Are you aware of the phrase robber baron? It is used to refer to a person who got rich through the use of unscrupulous business practices, such as hard and unfair wages for a large amount of work, or urging politicians to do their bidding. So with that in mind, you have to hear about the Gould family, specifically the robber baron known as Jay Gould. Jay Gould was widely known as a financier who had his toes in many waters, including trade, the tanning business, the yacht industry, railroad construction, and the sale of gold. In truth, due to his interest in the gold sector, Jay Gould used his influence to pull some strings in the White House that resulted in the Black Friday of 1869, where the price of gold dropped to almost 50% of its original worth, all for Jay Gould's gain. Unlike today's Black Friday trends, this particular Black Friday was met with contempt. It resulted in Jay facing several lawsuits, and it made him an outright villain in the public eyes, but that didn't stop him from getting rich. His descendants influenced society and increased the family wealth in several ways, but mostly through marriage unions. In today's money, Jay Gould's individual net worth is said to be up to $3 billion. 3. The Ford family. From the name you already know where and what this family contributed to the country. Yes, this is the patron family of the Ford Automobile Company. The company was founded by Henry Ford in the early 1900s in the state of Michigan, where he built an automobile engine that changed the nature of transportation in the country. He built the cars in large factories with a moving assembly line and interchangeable parts. Due to the success of their automobile company, they became one of the richest families in the world and even had the word Fordism named after them, because the Ford name was synonymous with producing affordable goods while paying fair wages to workers. The Ford family also had influence in the print media, which gained a lot of traction during World War I. Today the Fords aren't as powerful as they were, but they're still one of the richest families in America. 4. The Vanderbilt family. Ever heard of the Grand Central Station? The Vanderbilts had a hand in building that, although they built the original Grand Central Station in 1871. It all started with the man historically known as the Commodore, Mr. Cornelius Vanderbilt. Although he started as a steamboat entrepreneur, his investment in the railroad industry transformed the geography of the United States. The Commodore stood at the helm of transportation both on land and in the sea during the California gold rush that started in 1849, raking in an incredible amount of money, and he became the richest man in America until his death. But the wealth of the Vanderbilts didn't stop there. His son, William Henry Vanderbilt, who inherited his father's riches, stirred the family's money into real estate. They built various mansions and other infrastructure in York City, especially on Fifth Avenue. They expanded to other parts of the country, building summer cottages in Rhode Island, North Carolina, and Massachusetts. Sadly, their good fortune didn't last forever, as most of their buildings have been turned into museums or sold. Still, there was a time in history when being a part of the Vanderbilt family meant you were part of the richest family in America. 5. The Carnegie family gold is an important metal used by the wealthy, but do you know another important metal that is also associated with wealth? It's steel. Just ask the Carnegie family, they can tell you all about it, and it's all thanks to one man, Andrew Carnegie. If there was a way to summarize what it means to be selfless with wealth, then Andrew Carnegie would be that summary. He single-handedly revolutionized the American steel industry, which further improved the infrastructure-making aspects of society. He had his hand in bridge construction, car manufacturing, and oil. He raised money for many businesses in the British Empire, but that's only half of his work. The rest of his life he dedicated to philanthropy. Carnegie's main goal was to use his money for the betterment of society, and he urged other rich people to do the same. And over his lifetime, 90% of his fortune was given to charities worldwide. Carnegie sold his Pittsburgh Steel Company for about $11 billion in today's money to a man from another important Gilded Age family. 6. The Morgan family. John Pierpont. Morgan Sr., aka the original Wolf of Wall Street and the head of the Morgan dynasty, was an investment banker and financier who dominated Wall Street and corporate finance throughout the Gilded Age. He owned a few multinational companies in the steel, agricultural and electric industries and turned a fortune on all of them. It is said that J.P. Morgan was so great that in 1907 he and his team of financiers helped prevent the total collapse of the country's monetary system, and his influence actually helped shape the American economy. He married Amelia Sturgis in 1861, who tragically died of tuberculosis in 1862. He remarried Frances Louise Tracy, and together they had 4 children. His son J.P. Morgan Jr. followed in his father's footsteps and made great strides in the business sector. Today, the Morgan family is a long dynasty that is widely respected by Americans. It is speculated that J.P. Morgan Sr.'s net worth is about $60 billion in today's money. 7. The Rockefeller family. A lot can be said about the Rockefeller family. It is the name associated with one of the largest family fortunes in the history of the world. The Rockefellers have always been a force to be reckoned with, and they sit at the pinnacle of old money families. Their fortune was primarily made from America's petroleum industry. They founded Standard Oil, which was the progenitor of companies such as ExxonMobil and Chevron. And that's only one section of the Rockefeller interest. The most notable members of the Rockefeller family are the brothers John D. Rockefeller and William A. Rockefeller. They have ties to the banking industry, Venrock Associates, which was a precursor company to the Apple computers, and the insurance sector, and that's just a few of them. They say that with the wealth of both brothers combined, it is difficult to ascertain how rich they are, but it is estimated that it would be far greater than the net worth of the richest men in the world today, making the Rockefellers the most powerful family from the Gilded Age.